Admiral Kethros stood before the massive display screen in the Valdoran Empire's war room. His scaled hands traced patterns in the air as battle footage played before him. Human ships moved across the screen in familiar patterns. They fired their weapons in straight lines. They grouped together like fish in water. Nothing special, nothing dangerous. "Play the recording from Sector 7 again," Kethros said to his aide. The screen showed a human patrol ship fighting 3 Valdoran cruisers. The human captain was brave. His crew fought well, but their ship was small and weak. After 20 minutes, the human vessel exploded in a ball of fire. Kethros had seen this same scene dozens of times from different battles. "These humans are predictable," Kethros muttered. "They use old tactics, simple weapons, small fleets." On the other side of the galaxy, Admiral Dae-Ho Kim watched the same battle from his chair deep beneath the Pacific Ocean. The command center around him hummed with quiet activity. Officers moved between glowing panels. Data flowed across screens like rivers of light. But Dae-Ho's eyes stayed fixed on the recording of the destroyed patrol ship. Captain Yoon-ji played her role perfectly. He said to the woman standing beside him, "The Valdorans think they know everything about us now." Hyunwoo Park, Earth's top spymaster, nodded slowly. Her dark eyes reflected the light from the screens. "The patrol fleets have done their job. The Empire believes what we want them to believe." Dae-Ho touched a control. The screen changed to show a map of human space. Red dots marked where patrol ships had fought Valdoran scouts. Yellow dots showed human colonies. But the map was missing something important. It showed no sign of the real human fleet. "How long have our people been playing this game?" Hyunwoo asked. 50 years, Dae-Ho replied. "Since the first Valdoran ship crossed into our space. We knew this day would come. We prepared for it." 3,000 light-years away, Captain Yoon-ji Lee sat in the medical bay of a Valdoran prison ship. Her patrol vessel, the Soul's Pride, had been destroyed 6 days ago. Her crew was dead or captured, but she felt no sadness. This was exactly what was supposed to happen. The Valdoran interrogator entered the room. He was tall and thin with gray skin and 4 arms. His voice was cold when he spoke. "Your fleet is pathetic, human. We destroyed your ship in minutes." Yoon-ji looked at him with tired eyes. "We did our best." "Your best was not good enough. How many ships does humanity have?" "Maybe 300 patrol vessels, some defense platforms around our worlds. That's all." The lie came easily. Yoon-ji had practiced it many times. The interrogator made notes on his data pad. 300 ships, weak weapons, no real army. He looked pleased. "The Empire will crush you like insects." After he left, Yoon-ji closed her eyes and smiled. The Valdorans had no idea what was really waiting for them. They had fought humanity's training ships, vessels designed to look and fight like the main fleet while being much weaker. Every patrol captain knew they were not real warriors. They were actors in a play that had been 50 years in the making. In the Valdoran capital city, Emperor Valdek III walked through his palace gardens. The flowers around him came from 12 different worlds. Each one represented a star system he had conquered. Soon he would plant flowers from human worlds too. His military advisor, General Thax, approached with quick steps. "My Emperor, Admiral Kethros has completed his study of the human fleet." "What did he learn?" Valdek asked, stopping beside a fountain. "The humans are weak. Their ships are small and slow. Their weapons are simple. Their tactics are old and easy to predict. Admiral Kethros believes we can conquer all human space in 1 month." Valdek smiled. His sharp teeth caught the light from the 3 suns above. 1 month? Perhaps we should make it 2 weeks. I do not want the other races to think we are getting soft. The Admiral is preparing invasion plans now. He says we will need only half our fleet to defeat the humans completely. Half our fleet? Valdek laughed. Send the full fleet anyway. I want the humans to see the power of the Empire before they die. Let this be a lesson to any other race that thinks they can resist us. Back on Earth, Hyunwoo Park stood before the Global Defense Council. 12 leaders from different nations sat around a curved table. Behind them, windows looked out onto the ocean's surface far above. "The Valdorans have taken the bait," she reported. "Their emperor has ordered a full invasion. Intelligence suggests they will move within 3 months." President Chen of the Pacific Federation leaned forward. "Are you certain our plan will work?" "The patrol fleets have been perfect in their roles," Hyunwoo replied. "Every destroyed ship gave the Valdorans exactly the information we wanted them to have. They think humanity has maybe 400 vessels total. They have no idea about the core fleet." "How many ships are we really hiding?" asked Prime Minister Kowalski from the European Union. Admiral Dae-ho stood up from his chair. "The exact number is classified, but I can tell you this. What the Valdorans have seen is less than 1% of our real military power." The council members looked at each other with surprise. Even they had not known the true size of humanity's secret fleet. "Where are all these ships?" Chen asked. "Hidden," Dae-ho said simply. "In asteroid fields, in gas giant atmospheres, in dimensions the Valdorans don't even know exist. We have been building and preparing for this war since before some of you were born." In the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, Captain Mi Kyung-nam floated through the corridors of a facility that did not officially exist. Around her, thousands of workers moved like ants through tunnels carved from solid rock. The asteroid looked dead from the outside. Inside, it was alive with purpose. "How are the preparations going?" she asked Chief Engineer Woo Jin Han. "The ships are ready," he replied, pointing through a window into a vast hollow space inside the asteroid. "All 200 dreadnoughts in this facility alone are fully armed and fueled. The crews have been training in simulators for years." Mi Kyung looked at the ships with pride. Each one was 3 times larger than the biggest Valdoran vessel. Their hulls were black as space itself. Their weapons could punch holes through planets. And this was just one hidden base among hundreds. "When will we receive activation orders?" she asked. "Soon," Woo Jin replied. "The Valdorans are moving their fleet toward human space. Our spy networks report they are very confident. They think this will be an easy war." Mi Kyung smiled coldly. "They have no idea what easy really means." On the edge of human space, Lieutenant Taemin-jang sat alone in a small observation post built inside a dead comet. His job was to watch and wait. Around him, sensitive equipment recorded everything that happened in nearby space. He had been here for 2 years, living on food packets and recycled air, but his mission was almost over. His sensors detected movement at the edge of the system. Valdoran ships were coming. Not just a few scouts this time. The main invasion fleet was beginning to move. Taemin counted the ships as they appeared. 12 massive dreadnoughts, hundreds of cruisers, thousands of smaller vessels. He opened a communication channel that would carry his message through hidden relays all the way to Earth. "This is Observer Post 7. The Valdoran invasion fleet has entered our space. Ship count matches intelligence predictions. The enemy is moving exactly as expected." On Earth, Admiral Dae-ho received the message in his underground command center. He looked at the officers around him. Many of these people had spent their entire careers preparing for this moment. Their parents and grandparents had worked on this plan before them. "Send word to all hidden facilities," Dae-ho ordered. "The Valdorans have begun their invasion. It is time to show them what humanity really looks like when it goes to war." The message spread through secret channels faster than light itself. In asteroid bases, hidden shipyards began to hum with new activity. In gas giant stations, weapons that had waited for decades started charging their power cores. On Earth, deep bunkers opened their doors to reveal technologies that would make the Valdorans wish they had never heard of the human race. The Empire thought it was hunting sheep. It was about to learn that it had walked into a den of sleeping dragons. The Valdoran invasion fleet moved through space like a metal storm. 12 dreadnoughts led the way, each one 3 kilometers long and bristling with weapons. Behind them came hundreds of cruisers and destroyers. Fighter craft swarmed around, the larger ships like angry insects. Emperor Valdek III had sent his entire military to crush humanity once and for all. Captain Jinsu Choi stood on the bridge of his patrol ship, the Busan Runner. Through the forward window, he could see the Valdoran fleet approaching New Gangwon colony. The sight should have terrified him. Instead, he felt calm. He had trained for this moment his entire career. "Sir, enemy fleet will be in weapon range in 10 minutes, reported his tactical officer. "All ships, this is Captain Choi," he spoke into his communicator. "Remember your training. Fight hard, but do not reveal any classified systems. Make them believe they are seeing our best." 3 other patrol ships formed up beside the Busan runner. Against the massive Valdoran fleet, they looked like toys. But they would do their job. They would give the enemy exactly what they expected to see. The battle began with a storm of enemy fire. Valdoran plasma beams cut through space like burning swords. Jinsu ordered his ships to spread out and attack from different angles. This was an old tactic that any military academy student would learn in their first year. The Valdorans would recognize it immediately. "Target their lead cruiser," Jinsu ordered. "Fire conventional missiles only." The Busan runners' weapons were powerful but not advanced. They fired simple warheads that exploded on contact. The Valdoran shields absorbed most of the damage. Jinsu's ship shook as enemy fire hit their hull. "Hull breach on deck 3, called his damage control officer. "We're losing atmosphere." "Seal the breach and keep firing," Jinsu replied. Around him, his crew worked with perfect training. They knew their ship was doomed. They also knew their sacrifice would help win the real war. For 6 hours, the 4 human ships held off the Valdoran advance. They used every basic tactic in the book. They grouped together for combined firepower. They tried to ram damaged enemy ships. They sent fake distress calls that the Valdorans easily intercepted. Everything they did looked brave but simple. One by one, the patrol ships died. The Gangnung Star exploded when Valdoran heavy weapons breached her reactor. The Mokpo's shield broke apart under sustained fire from 3 enemy destroyers. The Jeonju Guardian's crew abandoned ship after taking critical damage to their life support systems. Jinsu's ship was the last one fighting. Her hull was cracked in a dozen places. Half her weapons were destroyed. Fires burned on 3 different decks. But she kept firing. "Sir, we can't take much more of this," his executive officer said. "We don't need to take much more," Jinsu replied. "Our job is almost done." He was right. Hidden sensors throughout the system had recorded everything. Every Valdoran ship's weapon signature, every tactical formation they used, every communication frequency. The data was already flowing through secret channels back to Earth. "All hands, this is the captain," Jinsu announced. "It has been an honor serving with you. Remember, we are not just fighting for ourselves. We are fighting for all humanity." A Valdoran dreadnought's main cannon fired directly at the Busan runner. The beam cut through the small ship like a hot knife through butter. Jinsu had just enough time to smile. Before the explosion took him, Admiral Kethros watched the destruction of the human ships from his command vessel. The battle had gone exactly as he predicted. The humans fought bravely but used predictable tactics. Their weapons were adequate but not impressive. Their ships were well built, but small and weak. "Send word to the Emperor," he ordered. "The first human system has fallen. No Valdoran ships were seriously damaged. This will be easier than we thought." On Earth, Admiral So Young-yoon received the battle recordings in the Deep Command Center. She studied every detail with cold eyes. The Valdorans had performed exactly as the psychological profiles predicted they would. They were arrogant. They were overconfident. They thought they understood everything about human military capability. "Analysis complete," she announced to her staff. "The enemy is using standard fleet tactics from their manual. Their formation patterns match what our agents observed in their previous conquests. They show no awareness of our real capabilities." "What about their technology?" asked her intelligence officer. "Impressive but predictable. Their plasma weapons are powerful but slow to recharge. Their shields are strong against kinetic weapons but weak against certain energy frequencies. Their ships are heavily armored but not very maneuverable." So Young smiled. 50 years of preparation were about to pay off. The Valdorans thought they were fighting humanity's real army. They had no idea they were still facing the opening act. Lieutenant Taimin Zhang watched from his hidden post as the Valdoran fleet celebrated their victory. Enemy ships fired their weapons into the sky in triumph. Their communications channels buzzed with proud reports. They had defeated the humans without losing a single vessel. But Taimin saw something the Valdorans missed. His sensors detected strange energy readings from deeper in the system. Space itself seemed to shimmer near certain asteroids. Gravitational fields fluctuated in patterns that defied natural explanation. The real human fleet was waking up. He sent coded messages to his commanders on Earth. The core fleet activation had begun. Deep in hidden bases, massive ships were powering up for the first time. Weapons that had waited decades in darkness were charging their energy cores. The dragons were opening their eyes. In the Valdoran capital, Emperor Valdek III held a celebration. His generals and admirals filled the great hall, drinking wine and boasting about their easy victory. Holographic displays showed the burning remains of human ships. The humans are weaker than we expected, General Thax announced, raising his cup. At this rate, we will conquer all their worlds in 2 weeks instead of 1 month. Perhaps we should slow down, laughed Admiral Kethros. I want to enjoy this war a little longer. The Emperor stood up, his ceremonial robes flowing around him. Let this be a message to all races in the galaxy. The Valdoran Empire cannot be stopped. Any who resist us will share the fate of these pathetic humans. His nobles cheered and drank more wine. None of them noticed the worried expression on the face of Science Minister Vex. She had been studying the energy readings from the battle. Something was wrong. The humans had fought too perfectly. Their tactics were too predictable, their technology was too limited. After the feast, Minister Vex approached the Emperor privately. My lord, I have concerns about the human campaign. What? Concerns? Valdek asked, still happy from the celebration. The humans fought exactly as we expected them to fight. Not better. Not worse. Exactly as our intelligence predicted. In 50 years of conquering other races, this has never happened before. The Emperor frowned. What are you suggesting? I think the humans wanted us to win that battle. I think they wanted us to see their ships destroyed. The question is why? Valdek waved his hand dismissively. You worry too much, Minister. Fear makes you see enemies where there are none. The humans are simply weak and predictable. There is nothing more to it. But Minister Vex was not convinced. She returned to her laboratory and began studying the battle recordings more carefully. The more she looked, the more concerned she became. The human ships had fought bravely, but their technology seemed deliberately limited. Their weapons were adequate but not cutting edge. Their tactics were sound but not innovative. It was as if the humans had built their entire fleet to meet expectations, rather than exceed them. On the edge of the battle zone, salvage crews worked through the wreckage of human ships. They collected metal fragments, computer cores, and weapon components for analysis. Everything they found confirmed what the military already believed. Human technology was decent but not remarkable. What they did not find were the real secrets. The patrol ships carried no quantum computers, no exotic matter reactors, no dimensional fold weapons. The most advanced systems had been carefully removed or destroyed before the battle began. The Valdorans were studying humanity's toys while the real weapons remained hidden. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Admiral Dae-Ho Kim reviewed reports from across human space. The invasion was proceeding perfectly. The Valdorans were conquering human colonies at exactly the predicted rate. Their confidence was growing with each easy victory. Phase 1 complete, he announced to the Global Defense Council. The enemy believes they understand us. They think our military is weak and divided. They have no suspicion of the core fleet. When do we move to Phase 2? Asked President Chen. Soon, Dae-Ho replied. Let them get deeper into our space. Let them commit. More ships. When they are completely confident of victory, we will show them what humanity really looks like when it fights for survival. In hidden bases throughout the solar system, the real human fleet continued its preparations. Ships that had never seen combat powered up their systems for the first time. Crews who had trained for decades in secret finally received their deployment orders. Weapons that existed beyond the edge of known science warmed up their targeting systems. The Valdorans thought they were hunting helpless prey. They were about to discover they had walked into the most sophisticated trap in galactic history. Humanity had spent 50 years preparing for this. Deep in the asteroid belt, Chief Engineer Wu Jinhan pressed his palm against a smooth metal panel. The scanner read his genetic code, his heartbeat, and his brain patterns. After 50 years of waiting, the awakening protocols were finally active. Authorization confirmed, the computer announced. Core fleet activation beginning. Around him, the asteroid facility shuddered as massive doors opened for the first time in decades. What the Valdorans thought was a dead rock cracked apart like an egg. Inside, 200 dreadnoughts sat in perfect rows, their black hulls drinking in the starlight. Each ship was larger than anything in the Valdoran fleet. Each one carried weapons that could crack planets. All crews to stations, Wu Jin announced over the facility's communication system. This is not a drill. The time has come to show the galaxy what humanity can really do. Captain Mi Kyung Nam walked through the corridors of her ship, the Inchun's Wrath. The vessel hummed around her with power that made the air itself tingle. Her crew moved with quiet purpose, taking their positions at control panels that glowed with soft blue light. These people had trained their entire lives for this moment. Engineering, report status, she ordered. Quantum reactors at full power, came the reply. Dark matter weapons charged and ready. Dimensional armor holding steady. All systems show green across the board. Mi Kyung smiled. Her ship existed partially outside normal space, making it almost impossible for enemy sensors to get a clear reading. When she moved, reality bent around her vessel like water around a stone. The Valdorans had never seen technology like this. Across the solar system, similar scenes played out at dozens of hidden bases. In the clouds of Jupiter, manufacturing stations that had pretended to be weather research facilities revealed their true purpose. They had been building ammunition for 50 years, stockpiling enough firepower to fight a war across the entire galaxy. Admiral Sung Ho-Oh coordinated the awakening from his command ship in Saturn's rings. Around him, officers monitored displays, showing the status of every hidden facility. Green lights appeared one by one as bases came online. The core fleet was stirring to life like a sleeping giant. Sir, all primary facilities report ready status, his operations officer announced. Secondary bases are still powering up, but they will be ready within 6 hours. What about the supply chains? Sung Ho asked. Logistics networks are activating now. The Valdorans have been watching our commercial shipping for months. They have no idea those cargo vessels have been carrying military supplies the entire time. Sung Ho nodded with satisfaction. Every detail had been planned decades in advance. The fake shipping routes, the decoy facilities, the staged battles with patrol ships. Everything had been designed to hide humanity's true strength until the perfect moment. Commander Yejin Park stood on the bridge of a ship that should not have been possible. The quantum shadow existed in multiple dimensions at the same time, allowing it to be in several places at once. Her stealth fleet had been following the Valdoran invasion force since they entered human space, completely invisible to enemy sensors. Target analysis complete, her tactical officer reported. We have detailed scans of every enemy ship. Their shield frequencies, weapon signatures, and hull compositions are all recorded. Transmit the data to Fleet Command, Yejin ordered. Make sure they know exactly where to hit for maximum damage. Her ships had been gathering intelligence for weeks while staying completely hidden. The Valdorans had no idea they were being watched by vessels that could phase in and out of reality itself. Every secret, every weakness, every tactical formation had been recorded and studied. On Earth, President Chen sat in the Global Defense Council chamber, watching reports stream in from across the solar system. For the first time in months, she allowed herself to feel hopeful. The plan that had consumed 50 years of human effort was finally beginning. Admiral Kim, what is our current status? She asked. Admiral Daeho stood before the massive display screen. Core fleet activation is proceeding perfectly. We now have over 3,000 dreadnoughts ready for combat, supported by 15,000 cruisers and destroyers. Fighter strength is approaching 1 million craft. The council members stared at the numbers in shock. Even they had not known the true size of humanity's secret military. "Where did all these ships come from?" asked Prime Minister Kowalski. "We have been building them for 50 years, Deho replied. "Every time the Valdorans thought they were observing our military, they were actually looking at our training fleet. The real human navy has been hidden where no one could find it." "How is that even possible?" "Asteroid bases, underwater facilities, stations built inside gas giant atmospheres, ships that exist partially in other dimensions. We used every hiding place we could find and invented new ones when necessary." In the Valdoran invasion fleet, Admiral Kethros continued his advance toward Earth. His ships had conquered 6 human colonies without serious resistance. Each victory made him more confident that this war would be over soon. "Status report," he ordered his aide. "All objectives secured on schedule, sir. Human resistance continues to be minimal. We estimate reaching their homeworld within 1 week." Kethros studied the tactical display showing his fleet's position. The humans had retreated before his advance, just as his intelligence reports predicted they would. Their ships were outnumbered and outgunned. Their colonies fell without extended battles. Everything was going exactly according to plan. Too perfectly, if he were the suspicious type. But the Emperor had ordered a quick victory, and Kethros was determined to deliver one. What he did not see were the quantum shadows following his fleet. Invisible ships recorded every movement, every formation change, every communication. The humans knew exactly where every Valdoran vessel was located and where it was going. On the bridge of his flagship, Emperor Valdek III reviewed the latest battle reports. His forces had destroyed another human patrol group near the Mars orbit. The enemy ships had fought bravely but uselessly, their simple weapons barely scratching Valdoran armor. "The humans are even weaker than we expected," he told General Thax. "Perhaps we should have sent only half our fleet after all." "It is better to be certain of victory," Thax replied. "Besides, this show of force will discourage other races from challenging us." Valdek agreed. The total destruction of humanity would send a clear message to the galaxy. No one could resist the Valdoran Empire. But as he watched the recordings of burning human ships, he felt a strange unease. The battles seemed almost choreographed, as if the humans were following a script. He dismissed the thought. Fear, often, made enemies seem more clever than they really were. The humans were simply a weak race that had run out of tricks. In the deepest parts of the Atlantic Ocean, massive doors opened in the sea floor. Water rushed into chambers that had been dry for decades as humanity's underwater shipyards revealed themselves. Ships rose from the depths like metal whales, their hulls designed to function in space as easily as in water. Captain Dongwook Park commanded one such vessel, the Soul's Hammer. His ship was actually a mobile base that could launch thousands of fighters from its internal bays. The fighters themselves existed partially outside normal time, allowing them to attack from the past and future simultaneously. "All fighter wings report ready," his flight commander announced. "Pilots are standing by for launch orders." "Stand by," Dongwook replied. "We launch when the Admiral gives the signal, not before." The timing had to be perfect. Humanity would get only one chance to surprise the Valdorans completely. If they revealed their true strength too early, the enemy might escape and warn other races. The trap had to close all at once. On a hidden moon base, Junho Kim coordinated the final preparations. He had spent his entire career working on this moment, organizing supply lines and communication networks across dozens of star systems. Everything had to work perfectly when the time came. "Sir, we're receiving strange energy readings from the Valdoran fleet," his sensor operator reported. "What kind of readings?" "They appear to be scanning for something. Their sensors are operating at maximum power, sweeping nearby space in detailed patterns." Junho frowned. "Are they looking for us?" "Unknown, sir. But their search patterns are becoming more systematic. They may be starting to suspect something." This was the moment Junho had been dreading. If the Valdorans discovered the core fleet before humanity was ready to strike, the entire plan would fail. 50 years of preparation could be wasted in an instant. He opened a secure channel to Admiral Deho on Earth. "Sir, we may have a problem. The enemy is conducting intensive sensor sweeps. They might be getting suspicious." Deho's voice was calm despite the news. "How long before all systems are ready?" 6 hours for full activation, 3 hours for minimal combat readiness. Then we move the timeline forward. Send the activation code to all units. Operation Revelation begins now. Across human space, secret bases received the signal they had waited decades to hear. The core fleet would reveal itself not in 6 hours but immediately. Humanity's hidden weapons were about to emerge from the darkness and show the galaxy what real power looked like. The Valdorans thought they were fighting sheep. They were about to meet the wolves. The Valdoran invasion fleet emerged from hyperspace expecting to find a broken world, defended by scattered survivors. Instead, they found themselves staring at something that defied all understanding of warfare. Earth floated before them, but it was not the defenseless planet their intelligence reports had described. Massive structures rose from the oceans, their surfaces crackling with energy that made nearby space shimmer like hot air. Defense platforms the size of cities hung in orbit, their weapon arrays tracking the incoming fleet with mechanical precision. Admiral Kethro stood frozen on his command deck, trying to process what his sensors were telling him. "Where did all of this come from?" he whispered. His tactical officer's voice shook as he read the displays. "Sir, I'm reading over 3,000 capital ships in defensive positions. Energy signatures are off the charts. These readings don't make sense." "Check the sensors," Kethros ordered. "There must be an error." "Sensors are functioning normally, sir. The readings are accurate." Admiral Changmin Li sat in the command chair of his flagship, the Daegu's Thunder. Around him, the bridge hummed with quiet activity as his crew prepared for the battle they had trained their entire lives to fight. His ship was larger than any Valdoran dreadnought, its hull seeming to bend light around itself. "All units, this is Admiral Li," he announced on the fleet communication channel. "Today we show the galaxy who we really are. Today we prove that humanity's patience has limits." The solar defense grid activated with a sound like thunder rolling across the void. Weapons that had waited 50 years for this moment powered up to full charge. Energy flows that would have impressed gods themselves began building in charging chambers the size of skyscrapers. Captain Hai Wan-Yong commanded the first strike wing from her ship, the Guangzhou's Vengeance. Her vessel moved through space like liquid mercury, its exotic matter drives allowing impossible acceleration and maneuvers. Around her, 50 similar ships formed a perfect formation that existed in multiple dimensions at once. "Target the enemy flagship," she ordered her weapons officer. "Let's introduce ourselves properly." The Guangzhou's Vengeance fired a single shot. The beam of pure energy crossed the space between fleets in less than a second. When it struck the lead Valdoran dreadnought, the massive ship simply ceased to exist. No explosion, no debris. One moment it was there. The next moment there was empty space. Emperor Valdek III watched from his command ship as his fleet's flagship vanished without a trace. His mind refused to accept what he was seeing. What happened to the dreadnought? Conquest? His science officer checked his instruments with trembling hands. "Sir, it appears to have been completely disintegrated. Molecular bonds were broken at the quantum level. The ship was reduced to its component atoms." "That's impossible," Valdek said. "No weapon can do that." "Apparently, human weapons can," the science officer replied quietly. Admiral Kethros tried to maintain order among his remaining ships. "All vessels scatter formation. Begin evasive maneuvers. Return fire on any target of opportunity." The Valdoran fleet opened fire with everything they had. Plasma beams and missile volleys filled space with deadly light. But their weapons passed, harmlessly through empty space where human ships had been just moments before. Captain Mi Kyung-nam's ship, the Inchen's Wrath, existed partially outside normal spacetime. Valdoran sensors could not get a solid lock on her position because she was simultaneously in multiple locations. When enemy fire passed through the space she occupied, it hit nothing but shadows. "Weapons officer, return fire," she ordered calmly. The Inchon's wrath fired a spread of quantum torpedoes that traveled faster than light itself. They struck 3 Valdoran cruisers simultaneously, each explosion creating a brief tear in reality that swallowed everything within a kilometer radius. Commander, Yejin Park's stealth fleet materialized around the Valdoran formation like ghosts becoming solid. Her ships had been invisible for so long that their sudden appearance created panic among enemy crews. Valdoran captains found themselves surrounded by vessels that should not have been able to sneak up on them. Fire at will, Yejin commanded. Her ships unleashed weapons that attacked from multiple timelines at once. Valdoran vessels found themselves being hit by shots that had been fired in the past, present, and future simultaneously. Their shields, designed to stop conventional weapons, offered no protection against attacks that existed outside normal causality. On the Valdoran flagship, Emperor Valdek III watched his fleet being systematically destroyed by enemies he could barely comprehend. Ships that moved faster than physics should allow, weapons that ignored the fundamental laws of reality, defenses that made his most powerful attacks useless. How is this possible? He demanded of his science minister, Vex, who had joined him for the final battle. Minister Vex studied the tactical displays with growing horror. My Emperor, these humans are not using technology we understand. Their ships appear to operate on principles of physics that our science cannot explain. Are you saying they are more advanced than we are? I am saying they are more advanced than anyone in the galaxy. This level of technology should be impossible. A Valdoran destroyer exploded as a human fighter craft shot through its hull like it was made of paper. The fighter itself seemed to be existing in multiple dimensions, phasing in and out of reality as it moved. Its pilot appeared to be attacking from several directions at once. Captain Dong-Wook Park's carrier, the Soul's Hammer, released wave after wave of these impossible fighters. Each craft was flown by pilots who had trained in quantum flight simulators, learning to think in 4 dimensions instead of 3. They moved through space like schools of fish swimming through water, except the water was the fabric of reality itself. Fighter Wings Alpha through Omega, you are cleared to engage, Dong-Wook announced. Show them what human pilots can do. The fighters swarmed over the Valdoran fleet like angry hornets. But these hornets could exist in multiple places at once, attack from the past and future, and phase through solid matter when it suited them. Valdoran point defense systems could not track targets that existed outside normal space-time. Admiral Kethros tried desperately to coordinate a retreat, but his communications were being jammed by human systems he could not understand. His remaining ships fired wildly in all directions, trying to hit enemies that appeared and disappeared like mirages. All ships, full reverse, he ordered. Retreat to hyperspace jump distance. But the human fleet had anticipated this move. Captain, Haiwan Young's strike wing had positioned itself to cut off the Valdoran escape route. Her ships existed in a quantum superposition that allowed them to be in multiple positions simultaneously, creating an inescapable net around the enemy formation. This is Captain Young to the Valdoran fleet, she broadcast on an open channel. Your ships are surrounded. Your weapons are useless. Your technology is obsolete. Surrender now and your crews will be treated according to galactic law. Emperor Valdek III received the transmission with rage and disbelief. Surrender. The Valdoran Empire does not surrender to anyone. Then you will share the fate of your ships. Young replied calmly. The Emperor ordered his remaining vessels to fight to the last. But the battle was already over. In 17 minutes, the most powerful invasion fleet in galactic history had been reduced to burning wreckage and fleeing survivors. Of the 1,200 ships that had entered the solar system, only 300 remained. These survivors limped away from Earth with their hulls cracked, their weapons destroyed, and their crews traumatized by encounters with technology that seemed like magic. Admiral Dae-Ho Kim watched the retreat from his command center beneath the Pacific Ocean. Around him, officers monitored the fleeing enemy ships with quiet satisfaction. The plan that had taken 50 years to execute had worked perfectly. Sir, should we pursue and destroy the remaining ships? Asked his operations officer. No, Dae-Ho replied. Let them go. They carry a message now. The galaxy needs to hear what happens when someone mistakes human patience for weakness. On the bridge of his damaged flagship, Emperor Valdek III stared at the tactical display showing his shattered fleet. His invasion force had been the pride of the Empire, equipped with the best weapons and crewed by the finest warriors. Against the humans, they had lasted barely a quarter of an hour. "How many ships did we lose?" he asked his aide. 900 confirmed destroyed, sir. Many more damaged beyond repair. Casualty reports are still coming in. Valdek looked at the image of Earth on his screen. The planet hung in space like a blue jewel, surrounded by defense platforms and ships that existed beyond his understanding. He had thought he was conquering a weak race. Instead, he had awakened something that could have destroyed his entire empire if it chose to. Minister Vex approached the Emperor with her final analysis. "My lord, we never fought their real fleet. Those patrol ships we destroyed were just scouts, training vessels. The humans have been hiding their true military capability for decades." "Why?" Valdek asked. "Why hide such power?" "I believe they wanted to test us," Vex replied. "They wanted to see what we would do when we thought they were weak. We failed the test." The Emperor realized the full scope of his mistake. Humanity had not just defeated his fleet. Commander Kyung-Soo Lim watched the retreating Valdoran ships through the sensors of his pursuit vessel, the Ulsan's Justice. His orders were clear but unusual. He was not to destroy the fleeing enemy vessels unless they tried to fight. Instead, he was to follow them home and ensure they delivered a very specific message. "Sir, the lead enemy ship is attempting to charge weapons," his tactical officer reported. "Disable their weapons only," Kyung-Soo ordered. "Do not destroy the ship. We need survivors to tell this story." A precise beam from the Ulsan's Justice struck the Valdoran cruiser's weapon systems, melting them into useless metal without damaging the rest of the ship. The enemy vessel immediately powered down and resumed its retreat. The message was clear. Humanity could destroy them at any time but chose not to. This scene repeated across 3 star systems as the broken Valdoran fleet fled toward home. Human ships appeared from nowhere to escort the retreat, ensuring no enemy vessel could stop to make repairs or call for reinforcements. The survivors would reach their capital with their hulls cracked and their pride shattered. In the Valdoran capital system, General Thax received the first fragmentary reports from the invasion fleet. The initial messages spoke of impossible human weapons and ships that defied the laws of physics. He dismissed these reports as panic and confusion from defeated commanders. Then the surviving ships began arriving. Emperor Valdek III's flagship limped into orbit around the capital world, its hull scarred by weapons that had burned through armor, like paper. Behind it came 300 other vessels in various states of damage. Many had entire sections missing. Some were held together by emergency force fields and prayer. General Thax boarded the flagship to meet his emperor in person. What he found shocked him more than any battle report could have. Valdek sat in his command chair like a broken man, staring at screens that showed recordings of the battle. "My emperor, what happened?" Thax asked. "We were fools," Valdek replied without looking up. "We thought we were hunting sheep. We were walking into a den of predators that had been watching us the entire time. On the screens, human ships moved through space in ways that seemed to mock the basic laws of reality. They fired weapons that erased matter from existence. They appeared and disappeared like ghosts. They moved faster than light while somehow arriving before they had left. This footage cannot be real," Thax protested. "No technology can do these things. I saw it with my own eyes," Valdek said quietly. "The humans have been lying to us for 50 years. Those patrol ships we destroyed were not their real fleet. They were toys, decoys. The humans wanted us to think they were weak." Admiral Kethros entered the command center, his uniform torn and his face pale with exhaustion. "General Thax, I must report the complete failure of the invasion. The human military capability exceeds our understanding of what is possible." "Explain," Thax demanded. "They have ships that exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Weapons that attack from the past, present, and future at the same time. Defenses that make our strongest attacks completely useless. We fought them for 17 minutes and lost 3/4 of our fleet." Thax looked between the Emperor and the Admiral, trying to understand what he was hearing. Are you telling me that humanity has technology superior to ours? Not superior, Kethros replied. Beyond our comprehension. They operate on principles of physics that our scientists say should be impossible. News of the disaster spread through the Valdoran Empire like wildfire. Citizens who had celebrated the easy conquest of human colonies now watched in shock as their supposedly invincible fleet returned in ruins. Military commanders who had boasted about crushing the weak humans faced the reality that they had been completely outmatched. On the neutral trading station of Kepler Junction, representatives from dozens of galactic species gathered to hear first-hand accounts of the battle. The stories they heard changed everything they thought they knew about humanity. Admiral Seojun An arrived at the station aboard a ship that seemed to be made of crystallized starlight. The vessel moved through space with impossible grace, its hull reflecting colors that should not have existed. When other species' ships tried to scan it, their sensors reported readings that made no sense. I bring greetings from the United Earth government, he announced to the assembled diplomats. We regret that the Valdoran Empire forced us to reveal capabilities we had hoped to keep private. Ambassador Telk of the Rigelian Federation spoke first. Admiral An, our intelligence services report that humanity possessed only a few hundred patrol vessels. Where did this massive fleet come from? Seojun smiled politely. The patrol fleets you observed were never intended to represent our full military capability. They were scouts and training vessels designed to give potential enemies a false impression of human strength. Why would you deliberately appear weaker than you are? Asked Councillor Vex, who had been allowed to attend as the Valdoran representative. Because we wanted to see what other species would do when they thought we were helpless, Seojun replied. The Valdorans failed this test badly. They chose conquest over diplomacy, aggression over cooperation. They revealed their true nature when they believed they held all the advantages. Insu Kang, Earth's intelligence chief, released carefully edited recordings of the battle to galactic news networks. The footage showed human ships using impossible technology to defeat the Valdoran invasion, but it was edited to hide the most advanced capabilities. Even these limited glimpses were enough to shock the galaxy. Species that had been planning their own expansion into human space quietly canceled those plans. Military leaders who had dismissed humanity as a minor power began requesting emergency meetings with their governments. The balance of galactic politics shifted in a single day. On the Valdoran homeworld, Emperor Valdek III faced a rebellion from his own people. Military commanders who had lost friends and family in the invasion demanded explanations. Citizens who had supported the war effort turned angry when they learned the true cost of the Emperor's arrogance. The humans could have destroyed our entire fleet, Admiral Kethros told the Imperial Council. Instead, they let us retreat. They wanted survivors to carry the message back to our people. This was not just a military defeat. It was a lesson in humility. Science Minister Vex presented her analysis to the Council. The humans have been preparing for this war for decades. Every interaction we had with their patrol ships was carefully planned to give us false information. We never saw their real technology until it was too late to matter. What do you recommend? Asked General Thax. Complete surrender, Vex replied. The humans have demonstrated that they could destroy us at any time if they chose to. Our only hope is to accept whatever terms they offer, and hope they are more merciful than we would have been. Young Min Sun, Earth's youngest admiral, addressed a gathering of galactic species representatives at the Kepler Junction station. His youth surprised many attendees, but his calm confidence commanded respect. Humanity has always possessed the technology you witnessed, he announced. We did not develop it in response to Valdoran aggression. We have had these capabilities for 50 years. We chose not to reveal them because we hoped they would never be necessary. Why reveal them now? Asked the Crystalline Collective's representative. Because the galaxy needed to understand that appearances can be deceiving, Youngmin replied. The patrol fleets you have observed were never meant to protect humanity from serious threats. They were diplomatic tools, designed to test the intentions of other species without revealing our true capabilities. And if we had passed this test, asked Ambassador Telk. Then you would have become our friends and allies, and never would have known about our military strength. The core fleet would have remained hidden forever. The room fell silent as the implications became clear. Every species present realized that their own interactions with human patrol ships had been tests. Their reactions had been carefully observed and analyzed. Humanity had been quietly judging the character of their galactic neighbors while appearing helpless. On Earth, Admiral Dae-Ho Kim stood before the Global Defense Council for the final time. His 50-year career had been devoted to preparing for this moment, and now his work was complete. The core fleet is returning to standby status, he reported. All hidden facilities are powering down to maintenance levels. The patrol fleets are resuming normal operations along our borders. What about the Valdoran Empire? Asked President Chen. They have agreed to full reparations for damage caused during their invasion. Their military will be limited to defensive forces only. Emperor Valdek III has been replaced by a council that understands the value of peaceful coexistence. And the other galactic species? 7 species have requested formal alliance treaties. 15 more have sent diplomatic missions, requesting trade agreements. 3 species have asked for our help in dealing with aggressive neighbors. The balance of power in this region of the galaxy has shifted permanently. In the hidden bases throughout the solar system, the massive ships of the core fleet powered down their weapons and returned to sleep. Their crews went back to normal lives, their children never knowing that their parents had just won the most important war in human history.